Tourism is one of the fastest growing economic sectors in the world. And it's not a minor thing. Before the pandemic, it represented roughly 10% of global GDP, and in terms of jobs, 1 out of 10 families depend on tourism globally. In 2019, for example, 1 out of 4 jobs in the world were created in this sector, and most of them are women's jobs. Therefore, tourism represents one of the greatest opportunities for human development. However, it also represents a real challenge for climate change. As the tourism sector continues to grow, its contribution to climate change increases. The sector accounts for 80% of global greenhouse gas emissions and is growing. At the same time, tourism is extremely vulnerable to climate change impacts. For instance, countries where tourism represents the largest proportion of GDP and regions where tourism growth is projected the most are at the same time the most vulnerable to climate change effects. Coastal tourism is highly vulnerable to rising sea levels. Natural attractions like fauna-rich savanna, jungles are rapidly degrading. In the case of coral reefs, for instance, it looks like they definitely will disappear in our Caribbean Sea. Extreme temperatures and weather patterns increase risk for tourism businesses and travelers. The past few months, we have been witness that brought record-breaking high temperatures all over the world and unprecedented levels of noxious sargassum algae on popular tourism beaches in the Caribbean Sea. Is there anything that we can do to de-accelerate, to stop, and finally reduce all the way to zero the emissions associated with tourism? Is there a way to increase this powerful instrument to create jobs and alleviate poverty without destroying or damaging natural resources and even recovering them? Yes, it is possible, we can, and we must do it. The goal number 8 of SDGs, decent work and economic growth, establishes that we need to promote sustainable tourism, a sustainable tourism that creates jobs and promote local culture and products. But how to do that? How can we support and guide the sector, in particular the SMEs that are 80% of the sector globally? That is the reason we are here. In the middle of a bunch of bad news, we are here to know and listen about a great news: the creation of the Sustainable Tourism Global Center, a multi-stake, multi-countries initiative in which Saudi Arabia, among other countries, are absolutely committed to guide, support, and promote sustainable tourism around the globe.